Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the live studios here in Radha Lane of the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books. And we've got a special guest here. You're distracting. And we have a special guest here, Anuradha from West Virginia, the wife of Jai Krishna, the temple president. And she's been reading regularly Srila Prabhupada's books, and she came for Giriraj Maharaj's Vyas Puja last summer or fall, whenever it was. She came up to me, and I never met her before, and she said, "Thank you very much." And I said, "For what?" And then she told me, and I was very, very happy. And I just was reminded of Vilas Banjari, if she's watching now, or maybe she will, even if it's not live, because, let me see, Australia's a long ways away. It must be at least 15 hours difference. I don't know which way. It's over the date line, so it's hard to tell which day it is. But anyway, we were just talking about how nice it was to be in a room full of devotees who really want to hear the Srimad-Bhagavatam. And according to the Bhagavatam itself, we can only really understand the Bhagavatam and become moved and changed if we hear the Bhagavatam with other like-minded devotees who also like to hear the Bhagavatam. So that's what this daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books is all about. So we especially welcome all of you out there in the cyberspace. The ranks are growing. We now have more than 1,250 followers. Not all live every night, but that's how many devotees have signed up to follow this reading. And I can't tell you what happiness this has brought me. It's, as we say, off the charts happy. Okay. So here we are at Sri Sri Nilamadhava Dham, and before we read, every day we recite the prayer by Sanatana Goswami, glorifying the Srimad-Bhagavatam, and we learn a lot about the Srimad-Bhagavatam and what it is and why we're reading every day and why we're getting such an attachment to reading every day by hearing this prayer. It's called Srimad-Bhagavata Mahima Stotram. And it goes like this. Sarva Shastabdi Piyusha Sarva Vedaika Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabho Kalidwandodita Ditya Sri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshakshadayate Sarvadasa Vasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Shri Krishna himself. Madeka Bando Matsangin Madguro Mad Mahadana Mad Nistadaga Mad Bhagya Mad Ananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu Sadhu Tadayin Adinicho Tathakara Hanamunchagadachin Mam Premnarit Katayospura. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, here we are on the 4th canto, 7th chapter, beginning with text 33. And what is the title of the chapter? The sacrifice performed by Daksha. Very interesting title because Daksha got his head cut off in the first one because he offended Lord Shiva. So we don't want to offend great devotees. We don't offend any devotee, or anybody actually, but particularly great devotees. And the more great the devotee, the more serious the offense. And because Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee, it was a very serious offense. And even though he didn't take so much offense, when his wife was offended and went to the place of her father, Daksha, who was performing the sacrifice, and then left her body in front of everybody just because of her father's offense and attitude toward her husband, Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva got upset. And when Lord Shiva he doesn't get upset very easy. Well, actually he does. But he's more often than not, he becomes pleased easily. But if you do offend him, he gets offended very easily. And if it's a serious offense, he can wreak havoc because he's in charge of the mode of ignorance. So everything that kind of falls apart is due to his energy. Fire, fruits rotting on the ground. Our bodies, our own bodies deteriorating over time, and all these things are all the influence of Lord Shiva. So now, all the demigods realize, oops, this was a big mistake. So Lord Brahma took them all to Lord Shiva and pacified him, because he's very easily pacified, and by that time he had gotten completely over it, because his anger is not material. See, we're thinking, when we hear this, what happened and how Lord Shiva reacted and what he did, we become aghast, but how it's shocked, isn't it? But actually, his anger was not material. He wanted to correct Daksha, which was not an easy thing to do because he was really, really proud. Because when persons get into really big positions, what do they say? Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power tends to corrupt absolutely. So because Daksha was in a very, very exalted position, the chief Prajapati, the performer and leader of great sacrifices for the whole universe. So therefore his pride overcame him and he became very proud. And so now Lord Shiva has corrected him, and he lost his head, and he got another head by the grace of Lord Shiva, a goat's head. But it was still the same Daksha, which is an interesting realization, that it's not the body that gives the personality, it's the soul that gives personality, ultimately. So, now, Lord Shiva was convinced by the prayers of Lord Brahma and the other demigods to come back and rectify the situation. Only he could do this. Only he could do the havoc that he did, and only he could rectify. Of course, Krishna could do even more, but among those who are like appearing in the universe as, he's not exactly a conditioned soul, but he's not a Vishnu Tattva either. He's in between. And so now he's come back, and Daksha has gotten his goat's head, and all the different personalities got their different, punishments. Somebody couldn't eat except through their disciples, because he showed their teeth while he was laughing at Lord Shiva, and so on and so forth. And now the prayers are being offered to Lord Shiva before the sacrifice is completed. And now we're up to the wives of the performers of the sacrifice. We've heard already from Brahma and from all other personalities. Now the wives of the performers, the wives of the Brahmins, are going to make their prayer to Lord Shiva. The wives of the performers of the sacrifice said, "My dear Lord, this sacrifice was arranged under the instruction of Brahma, but unfortunately, Lord Shiva, being angry at Daksha, devastated the entire scene, and because of his anger, the animals meant for sacrifice are lying dead. Therefore, the preparations of the yajna have been lost. Now, by the glance of your lotus eyes, the sanctity of this sacrificial arena may be again invoked." Purport. Animals were offered in sacrifice in order to give them renewed life. That was the purpose of having animals there. Offering an animal in sacrifice and giving him renewed life was the evidence of the strength of chanting mantras. Unfortunately, when Daksha's sacrifice was devastated by Lord Shiva, some of the animals were killed. One was killed just to replace the head of Daksha. Their bodies were lying about, and the sacrificial arena was turned into a crematorium. Thus, the real purpose of the yajna was lost. Lord Vishnu, being the ultimate objective of such sacrificial ceremonies, was requested by the wives of the priests to glance over the yajna arena with his causeless mercy, so that the routine work of the yajna might be continued. The purport here is that animals should not be unnecessarily killed. They were used to prove the strength of the mantras and were to have been rejuvenated by the use of the mantras. They should not have been killed, as they were by Lord Shiva, to replace the head of Daksha with an animal's head. As they were by Lord Shiva, to replace the head of Daksha with an animal's head. It was pleasing to see an animal sacrificed and rejuvenated, and that pleasing atmosphere had been lost. The wives of the priests requested that animals be brought back to life by the glance of Lord Vishnu to make a pleasing yajna. Text 34. The sages prayed, "Dear Lord, your activities are most wonderful, and although you do everything by your different potencies, you are not at all attached to such activities. You are not even attached to the goddess of fortune, who was worshipped by the great demigods like Brahma, who pray to achieve her mercy." Purport. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the Lord has no desire to achieve any result from his wonderful activities, nor has he any need to perform them. But still, in order to give an example to people in general, he sometimes acts, and those activities are very wonderful. He is not attached to anything. Namam karmani limpanti. Although he acts very wonderfully, he is not at all attached to anything. He is self-sufficient. The example is given here that the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is always engaged in the service of the Lord, but still, he is not attached to her. Even great demigods like Brahma worship the goddess of fortune in order to win her favor. But although the Lord is worshipped by many hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune, he is not at all attached to any one of them. This distinction concerning the exalted transcendental position of the Lord is specifically mentioned by the great sages. He is not like an ordinary living entity who is attached to the results of pious activities. Text 35. The Siddhas prayed. Like an elephant that has suffered in a forest fire, but can forget all its troubles by entering a river, our minds, O Lord, always merge in the nectarian river of your transcendental pastimes, and they desire never to leave such transcendental bliss, which is as good as the pleasure of merging in the Absolute. Purport. This statement is from the Siddhas, the inhabitants of Siddhaloka, where the 8 kinds of material perfection are complete. The residents of Siddhaloka have full control in the 8 kinds of yogic perfection, but from their statement it appears that they are pure devotees. They always merge in the nectarian river of hearing the pastimes of the Lord. Hearing of the pastimes of the Lord is called Krishna Katha. Similarly, there is a statement by Prahlad Maharaj that those who are always merged in the ocean of the nectar of describing the Lord's pastimes are liberated and have no fear of the material condition of life. The Siddhas say that the mind of an ordinary person is full of anxieties. The example is given of the elephant who has suffered in a forest fire and who enters into a river for relief. If persons who are suffering in the forest fire of this material existence will only enter into the nectarian river of the description of the pastimes of the Lord, they will forget all the troubles of the miserable material existence. The Siddhas do not care for fruitive activities, such as performing sacrifices and achieving the good results. They simply merge in the transcendental discussions of the pastimes of the Lord. That makes them completely happy, without care for impious or pious or impious activities. For those who are always in Krishna consciousness, there is no need to perform any kind of pious or impious sacrifices or activities. Krishna consciousness is itself complete, for it includes all the processes praised in the Vedic scriptures. Text 36. The wife of Daksha prayed as follows: My dear Lord, it is very fortunate that you have appeared in this arena of sacrifice. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, and I request that you be pleased on this occasion. The sacrificial arena is not beautiful without you. Just as the body is not beautiful without the head. Purport. Another name of Lord Vishnu is Yagyeshwar. In Bhagavad Gita it is said that all activities should be performed as Vishnu Yagya for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. Unless we please him, whatever we do is the cause of our bondage in the material world. This is confirmed herein by the wife of Daksha. Without your presence, the grandeur of this sacrificial ceremony is useless, just as a body without the head, however decorated it may be, is useless. The comparison is equally applicable to the social body. Material civilization is very proud of being advanced, but it is actually the useless trunk of a body without a head. Without Krishna consciousness, without an understanding of Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, any advancement in a civilization, no matter how sophisticated, is of no value. There is a statement in the Hari Bhakti Sududaya 3:11. Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya Jati Shastram Chapastapaha Apranyasyaiva Dehasya Mandanam Lukaranjanam. The purport is that sometimes when a friend or relative dies, especially among lower class men, the dead body is decorated. Dressed and ornamented, the body is taken in procession. That sort of decoration of the dead body has no actual value because the life force is already gone. Similarly, any aristocracy, any social prestige, or any advancement of material civilization without Krishna consciousness is as good as the decoration of a dead body. The name of the wife of Daksha is Prasuti, and she was the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, her sister. Swayambhuva Manu. Her sister, Devahuti, was married to Kardama Muni, and Kapiladev, the personality of Godhead, became her son. Prasuti then was the aunt of Lord Vishnu. She was asking the favor of Lord Vishnu in an affectionate mode. Since she was his aunt, she sought some special favor. Also significant in this verse is that the Lord is praised with the goddess of fortune. Wherever Lord Vishnu is worshipped, naturally there is the favor of the goddess of fortune. Lord Vishnu is addressed as Amrita, transcendental. The demigods, including Brahma and Lord Shiva, were produced after the creation, but Lord Vishnu existed before the creation. He is addressed therefore as Amrita. Lord Vishnu is worshipped with his internal energy by the Vaishnavas. Prasuti, the wife of Daksha, implored the Lord to turn the priests into Vaishnavas instead of simple fruitive workers performing sacrifices for some material benefits. 37. The governors of various planets spoke as follows. Dear Lord, we believe only in our direct perception, but under the circumstances, we do not know whether we have actually seen you with our material senses. By our material senses, we can simply perceive the cosmic manifestation, but you are beyond the 5 elements. You are the 6th. We see you, therefore, as a creation of the material world. Purport. The governors of the various planets are certainly materially opulent and very puffed up. Such persons are unable to understand the transcendental eternal form of the Lord. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that only persons who have anointed their eyes with love of Godhead can see the personality of Godhead in every step of their activities. Also, in the prayers of Kunti, Bhagavatam 1.8.26, it is stated that only those who are akinchana gocharam, who are not materially puffed up, can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Others are bewildered and cannot even think of the Absolute Truth. Text 38. The great mystics said, looks like everyone was there at this sacrifice, eh? The great mystics said, Dear Lord, persons who see you as non-different from themselves, knowing that you are the supersoul of all living entities, are certainly very, very dear to you. You are very favorable towards those who engage in devotional service, accepting you as the Lord and themselves as the servants. By your mercy, you are always inclined in their favor. Purport. It is indicated in this verse that the monists and the great mystics know the Supreme Personality of Godhead as one. This oneness is not the misunderstanding that a living entity is equal in every respect to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This monism is based on pure knowledge, as described and confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7.17. Priho hi jnani no tyartam. Priyo hi jnani no tyartam. Aham sacha mama priyaha. The Lord says that those who are advanced in transcendental knowledge and know the science of Krishna consciousness are very dear to Him, and He is also very dear to them. Those who are actually in perfect knowledge of the science of God know that the living entities are superior energy of the Supreme Lord. This is stated in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter. The material energy is inferior, and the living entities are superior energy. Energy and the energetic are non-different. Therefore, energies possess the same quality as the energetic. Persons who are in full knowledge of the personality of Godhead, analyzing His different energies and knowing their own constitutional position, are certainly very, very dear to the Lord. Persons, however, may not even be conversant with the knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but who always think of the Lord with love and faith. Feeling that He is great and that they are His parts and parcels, ever his servitors, are even more favored by him. The particular significance of this verse is that the Lord is addressed as Vatsala. Vatsala means always favorably disposed. The Lord's name is Bhakta Vatsala. The Lord is famous as Bhakta Vatsala, which means that he is always favorably inclined to the devotees, whereas he is never addressed anywhere in the Vedic literature as Jnani Vatsala. Text 39. We offer our respectful obeisances unto the Supreme, who has created varieties of manifestations and put them under the spell of the three qualities of the material world in order to create, maintain, and annihilate them. He himself is not under the control of the external energy. In his personal feature, he is completely devoid of the variegated manifestation of material qualities, and he is under no illusion of false identification. Purport. Two situations are described in this verse. One is the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the material world, and the other is the Lord's own establishment. There is also quality in the Lord's own establishment, the kingdom of God. It is stated here that Goloka is his personal situation. There is also quality in Goloka, but that quality is not divided into creation, maintenance, and annihilation. In the external energy, the interaction of the three qualities makes it possible for things to be created, maintained, and annihilated. But in the spiritual world, or the kingdom of God, there is no such exhibition, since everything is eternal, sentient, and blissful. There is a class of philosophers who misunderstand the appearance of the personality of Godhead within this material world. They are under the impression that when the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears, he is under the spell of the three qualities, like all other living entities who appear within this material world. That is their misunderstanding. As it is clearly stated here, swasangstaya, by his internal potency, he is transcendental to all these material qualities. Similarly, in Bhagavad Gita the Lord says, I appear by my internal potency. Both the internal and external potencies are under the control of the Supreme. So he does not come under the control of either of these potencies. Rather, everything is under his control. In order to manifest his transcendental name, form, qualities, pastimes, and paraphernalia, he brings into action his internal energy. On account of the variegatedness of the external potency, there are manifestations of many qualitative demigods, beginning with Brahma and Lord Shiva. And people are attracted to these demigods according to their own material quality. But when one is transcendental or surpasses the material qualities, he is simply fixed in the worship of the Supreme Personality. This fact is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Anyone engaged in the service of the Lord is already transcendental to the variegatedness and interaction of the three material qualities. The summary is that the conditioned souls are being pulled by the action and reaction of the material qualities, which create a differentiation of energies. But in the spiritual world, the worshipable one is the Supreme Lord and no one else. Text 40. The personified Vedas said, We offer our respectful obeisances unto you, the Lord, the shelter of the quality of goodness, and therefore the source of all religion, austerity, and penance. For you are transcendental to all material qualities, and no one knows you or your actual situation. Purport. In the material world, there is the trinity of the three material qualities. Lord Vishnu has accepted the superintendence of the quality of goodness, which is the source of religion, knowledge, austerity, renunciation, opulence, etc. Because of this, actual peace, prosperity, knowledge, and religion can be attained when the living entities are under the control of the quality of goodness in the material world. As soon as they are subjected to the control of the other two qualities, namely passion and ignorance, their precarious conditional life becomes intolerable. But Lord Vishnu, in his original position, is always nirguna, which means transcendental to these material qualities. Guna means quality, and nir means negation. This does not indicate, however, that he has no qualities. He has transcendental qualities by which he appears and manifests his pastimes. The positive, transcendental qualitative manifestation is unknown to the students of the Vedas, as well as to the great stalwart demigods like Lord Brahma and Shiva. Actually, the transcendental qualities are manifested only to the devotees. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, simply by discharging devotional service, one can understand the transcendental position of the Supreme Lord. Those who are in the mode of goodness can partially enter into the transcendental understanding, but it is advised in Bhagavad Gita that one has to surpass this. The Vedic principles are based on the three qualities of the material modes. One has to transcend these qualities, and then one can be situated in pure and simple spiritual life. Let that sink in for a second. I'll repeat that. It's so nice. The Vedic principles are based on the three qualities of the material modes. One has to transcend the three qualities, and then one can be situated in pure and simple spiritual life. Prabhupada said, simple for the simple. Text 41. The fire god said, "My dear Lord, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, because by your favor I am as luminous as blazing fire, and I accept the offerings mixed with butter and offered in sacrifice. The 5 kinds of offerings, according to the Yajurveda, are all your different energies, and you are worshipped by 5 kinds of Vedic hymns. Sacrifice means your supreme personality of Godhead." Purport. In Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly said that the yajna should be performed for Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu has 1,000 popular transcendental names, out of which one name is yajna. It is clearly said that everything should be done for the satisfaction of yajna or Vishnu. All other actions a person may take are only causes for his bondage. Everyone has to perform yajna according to the Vedic hymns. As stated in the Upanishads, fire, the altar, the auspicious full moon, the period of 4 months called Chaturmasya, the sacrificial animal, and the beverage called soma are necessary requisites, as are the specific hymns mentioned in the Vedas and composed of 4 letters. One hymn is as follows: Ashrayaveti Chaturaksharam Astu Shauchat Iti Chaturaksharam Yajeti Dvabhyam Ye Yajamana. These mantras, chanted according to the Shruti and Smriti literatures, are only to please Lord Vishnu. For the deliverance of those who are materially conditioned and attached to material enjoyment, performing yajna and following the rules and regulations of the 4 divisions of society and of spiritual life are recommended. Here comes the conch of Maya announcing the appearance of the what was it? Sacrificing the target of material life. Regulations of the 4 divisions of society and of spiritual life are recommended. It is said in the Vishnu Purana, they don't like to push Vishnu Purana, they're trying to distract us. It's amazing, I heard one train go by today, and he just went bump, then a little bit further, bump. You heard that? Then a little bit further, bump. It wasn't this It's like he was being polite and kind of considerate of others. Some of these guys, they're just like, it's like symbolic of the modes of nature. The ones who are in ignorance, they just they don't care whether it bothers somebody or not. They like it. Happiness in the mode of ignorance. It is said in the Vishnu Purana that by offering sacrifice to Vishnu, one can gradually be liberated. The whole target of life, therefore, is to please Lord Vishnu. That is yajna. Any person who is in Krishna consciousness has dedicated his life for the satisfaction of Krishna, the origin of all Vishnu forms. And by offering worship and prasad daily, he becomes the best performer of yajna. In the Srimad-Bhagavatam, it is clearly stated that in this age of Kali, the only successful performance of yajna or sacrifice is Jagyai Sankirtana Prayaya. The best type of sacrifice is simply to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This yajna is offered before the form of Lord Chaitanya, as other yajnas are offered before the form of Lord Vishnu. These recommendations are found in the 11th canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam. Moreover, this yajna performance confirms that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Vishnu himself. As Lord Vishnu appeared at the Daksa yajna long ago, Lord Chaitanya has appeared in this age to accept our Sankirtan yajna. How sweet is that? Text 42. The demigod said, Hare Krishna Nitya, Haribo. The demigod said, Dear Lord, formerly, when there was a devastation, you conserved all the different energies of material manifestation. At that time, all the inhabitants of the higher planets, represented by such liberated souls as Sanaka, were meditating on you by philosophical speculation. You are therefore the original person, and you rest in the water of devastation on the bed of the Shesha snake. Now, today, you are visible to us, who are all your servants. Please, give us protection. Purport. The devastation indicated in this verse is the partial devastation of the lower planets within the universe when Lord Brahma goes to sleep. The higher planetary systems, beginning with Maharloka, Janaloka, and Tapoloka, are not inundated at the time of this devastation. The Lord is the creator, as indicated in this verse, because the energies of creation are manifested through his body, and after annihilation, he conserves all the energy within his abdomen. Another significant point in this verse is that the demigod said, We are all your servants, Brityan. Give us your protection. The demigods depend on the protection of Vishnu. They are not independent. Bhagavad Gita therefore condemns the worship of demigods because there is no need of it, and clearly states that only those who have lost their sense go asking favors of the demigods. Generally, if anyone has material desires to be fulfilled, he can ask Vishnu instead of going to the demigods. Those who worship demigods are not very intelligent. Besides that, the demigods say, we are your eternal servants. So those who are servants or devotees of the Lord are not very much concerned with fruitive activities, the performance of the prescribed yagyas, or mental speculation. They simply serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead sincerely with love and faith, performing everything with that loving service, and the Lord gives such devotees direct protection. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, "Simply surrender unto me, and I will give you protection from all the reactions of sinful activities." This material world is so created that one has to act sinfully, knowingly or unknowingly. And unless his life is dedicated to Vishnu, he has to suffer all the reactions of sinful activities. But one who surrenders and dedicates his life for the service of the Lord has direct protection from the Lord. He has no fear of suffering from sinful activities, nor does he desire, willingly or unwillingly, to do anything which is sinful. Text 43. The Gandharvas said, "Dear Lord, all the demigods, including Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Indra, and Marichi, and the great sages, are all only differentiated parts and parcels of your body. You are the Supreme Almighty Great. The whole creation is just like a plaything for you. We always accept you as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we offer our respectful obeisances unto you." Purport. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There may be many gods, from Brahma, Lord Shiva, Indra, and Chandra, down to the rulers of the lower planetary systems, the presidents, ministers, chairmen, and kings. In fact, anyone we can think. In fact, anyone can think that he is God. That is the false, puffed-up conviction of material life. Actually, Vishnu is the Supreme Lord. But there is even one above Vishnu, for Vishnu is also the plenary portion of a part of Krishna. In this verse, this is referred to by the word Angshangsa, which refers to part and parcel of a part and parcel. There are similar verses in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which indicate that the Supreme Lord's parts and parcels again expand into other parts and parcels. As described in Srimad-Bhagavatam, there are many manifestations of Vishnu and many manifestations of living entities. Vishnu manifestations are called Shwangsa, partial manifestations, and the living entities are called Vibhinangsha. The demigods like Brahma and Indra have been promoted to such exalted positions by pious activities and austerities. But actually Vishnu or Krishna is the master of everyone. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said, Ekale Ishvara Krishna Ara Sabhabritya. This means that Krishna alone is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all others, even the Vishnu Tattva, and certainly the living entities, are his servitors. Baladev is the immediate expansion of Krishna. He also engages in the service of Krishna, and certainly the ordinary living entities are serving. Everyone is created constitutionally for serving Krishna. Here the Gandharvas acknowledge that although the demigods may represent themselves as the Supreme, actually they are not supreme. Real supremacy belongs to Krishna. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam is the statement of Srimad-Bhagavatam. Krishna is the only Supreme Lord. Worship of Krishna alone, therefore, includes worship of all the parts and parcels. Just as watering the root of a tree also waters all the branches, twigs, leaves, and flowers. Text 44. The Vidyadharas said, Dear Lord, this human form of body is meant for attaining the highest perfectional objective. But impelled by your external energy, the living entity misidentifies himself with his body and with the material energy, and therefore, influenced by Maya, he wants to become happy by material enjoyment. He is misled and always attracted by temporary, illusory happiness. But your transcendental activities are so powerful that if one engages in the hearing and chanting of such topics, he can be delivered from illusion. Purport. The human form of life is called artada because the body can very nicely help the embodied soul to achieve the highest perfection. Prahlad Maharaj said that even though temporary, the body can give us the highest perfectional achievement. In the process of evolution, from the lower to the higher grade of living, the human form of life is a great boon. But Maya is so strong that in spite of achieving this great boon of the human form of life, we are influenced by temporary material happiness, and we forget our goal of life. We are attracted by things which will cease to exist. The beginning of such attraction is the temporary body. In this horrible condition of life, there is only one way of liberation: to engage in the activities of transcendental chanting and hearing of the holy name of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The words Yushmat Kanamrita Nishevaka. Yushmat Katamrita Nishevaka mean those who engage in relishing the nectar of the topics of your Lordship. There are two narrative books which especially concern the words and activities of Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is the instruction given by Krishna, and Srimad-Bhagavatam is the book containing topics exclusively about Krishna and his devotees. These two books are the special nectar of the words of Krishna. For those who engage in the preaching of these two Vedic literatures, it is very easy to get out of the illusory conditional life imposed upon us by Maya. Shall I repeat that one? These two books, I'll read it back up here. There are two narrative books which especially concern the words and activities of Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is the instruction given by Krishna, and Srimad-Bhagavatam is the book containing topics exclusively about Krishna and his devotees. These two books are the special nectar of the words of Krishna. For those who engage in the preaching of these two Vedic literatures, it is very easy to get out of the illusory conditional life imposed upon us by Maya. The illusion is that the conditioned soul does not try to understand his spiritual identity. He is more interested in his external body, which is only a flash, and which will be finished as soon as the time is designated. The whole atmosphere will change when the living entity has to transmigrate from one body to another. Under the spell of Maya, he will again be satisfied in a different atmosphere. This spell of Maya is called Avaranatmakam Shakti, because it is so strong that the living entity is satisfied in any abominable condition. Even if he is born as a worm living within the intestine or abdomen in the midst of urine and stool, still he is satisfied. This is the covering influence of Maya. But the human form of life is a chance to understand, and if one misses this opportunity, he is most unfortunate. The way to get out of illusory Maya is to engage in the topics of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya advocated a process whereby everyone may remain in his present position without change, but simply hear from the proper authoritative sources about Krishna. Lord Chaitanya advised everyone to spread the word of Krishna. He advised, all of you become spiritual masters. I'll read that again. The way to get out of illusory Maya is to engage in the topics of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya advocated a process whereby everyone may remain in his present position without change, but simply hear from the proper authoritative sources about Krishna. Lord Chaitanya advised everyone to spread the word of Krishna. He advised, all of you become spiritual masters. Your duty is simply to talk to whomever you meet of Krishna or of the instructions given by Krishna. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness is operating for this purpose. We do not ask anyone to first change his position and then come to us. Instead, we invite everyone to come with us and simply chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Because we know that if one simply chants and hears the topics of Krishna, one's life will change. He will see a new light, and his life will be successful. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What a purport. What a purport. Okay, we're going to stop here at 7:30 on the dot. We'll hear more prayers to Lord Shiva tomorrow. Okay, so it's time for reflection, for questions. Yes. Wait, before you ask it, take the mic, because that way everyone out there in space can hear. Cyberspace.
Okay. Check. No. Yeah, so I have a question based off of what we just read, where Lord Chaitanya advised everyone to spread the word of Krishna, and he said, all of you become spiritual masters. Your duty is to simply talk to whomever you meet of Krishna or of the instructions given by Krishna. Now, then, on the 10 offenses in the prayer that we say, it mentions something about not, I guess, I'm kind of new, so I don't quite understand the sharing of Krishna consciousness to people that are...
Without faith. We don't have faith.
But does that excludes somebody? If Lord Chaitanya says share with everyone...
Shall I explain?
Yes, please. I would like to.
Okay. So this verse from the Padma Purana is concerning the instructing to a person about the intimate details of the holy name. So when we talk to everyone, we're meant to speak to them to the basics. You start by explaining to them that they're not the body, the difference between matter and spirit. And that isn't an offense. But above that, even sometimes when we're having a public program and we're preaching and we mention things about Krishna, and there are people in the audience who don't have the faith to hear, we take that risk. There's a wonderful purport by Srila Prabhupada which explains this. It's 329, if I remember correctly. Let me remember correctly. Yes, I did. Hare Krishna. I thought I had lost my memory, but something's still there.
Prakriter gunasamudha sajante gunakarmasu tana kritsnavado mandan kritsnavin na vichalayet. Bewildered by the modes of material nature, the ignorant fully engage themselves in material activities and become attached. But the wise should not unsettle them, although these duties are inferior due to the performer's lack of knowledge. So in the purport, Prabhupada says at the end of the purport, men who are ignorant cannot appreciate activities in Krishna consciousness, and therefore Lord Krishna advises us not to disturb them and simply waste valuable time. But the devotees of the Lord are more kind than the Lord, because they understand the purpose of the Lord. Consequently, they undertake all kinds of risks, even to the point of approaching ignorant men to try to engage them in the acts of Krishna consciousness, which are absolutely necessary for the human being. So it means that you don't have to say something direct about Krishna to every person you meet. You can give them prasadam. You can chant Hare Krishna into their ears. And even if they don't understand, they make advancement. And even if they reject it and make fun of it, next time they'll be a little bit more purified, and next time a little purified. The next body, they'll become purified enough, or to become attracted. Okay. So, but in a general sense, it means that even if you're acting as spiritual master, and by spiritual master, this statement doesn't mean that everyone necessarily has to become a Diksha guru, and sit here and, receive worship and all those things and answer everybody's questions and let everybody just sit there and relish the nectar and not do anything themselves. You don't have to do that necessarily. There's three kinds of spiritual masters. There's the Diksha guru, who's the one who initiates into the Mahamantra, into the science of Krishna consciousness. And then there's the Shiksha guru, who give relevant instructions for the upliftment of people, and that requires discrimination. You don't say anything and everything to everyone. You've got, like a doctor has on the wall all sorts of medicines. He doesn't just take any medicine and give whatever quantity to any person who walks in the office. You have to first diagnose the person, see what it is, see how intense it is, how far it's gone, and then he'll give the medicine accordingly, both in quality and quantity. So all these things are the subtleties of that statement. But the spirit of the statement is that he wants everyone to become qualified to do that, to feel compassion for the fallen souls, to realize first, yes, I am not the body, I can see it for myself. By practicing Krishna consciousness and hearing like we are hearing regularly, every day, gradually you come to see it for yourself. As the mind becomes purified, the heart becomes purified, and as we learn the philosophy and learn to not just look out at the world and see what's right and wrong, but we look in and we see what's right and wrong with us. And then we not just assimilate, we apply it. Assimilation implies applying it to ourselves. And then our vision changes and we look out and we can see the difference. We can see how the souls in the conditioned world are suffering. And we will feel like we want to do something. And if we're mature, and as we mature, then we'll be given the intelligence what to say, what not to say, when not to say, how much to say, how much not to say, with each person, in order to take them a little step forward. Something? Hare Krishna. Okay. All right. Yes, Patrick.
going to ask what the beverage called soma is. I've seen it come up a few times in different texts that I've read, and the internet just has speculation. It doesn't have any known definition.
Oh, good. You should be learning not to go to the internet. If you want to find out anything. I mean, there are some things that you can find out from the internet, but you don't want to go to the internet to find out anything about spiritual life, because you will hear so many things, so many contradictory things, and even you'll hear some nasty things, and you'll get bewildered, and you won't be able to hear. You won't be simple like we heard in one of the purports. Simple for the simple. You have to hear without argument. If you can hear with faith, with love, and without argument, then you can actually get spiritual realization just by hearing. But it's not that just because you're in the room and you've got ears, that means that you're hearing. I always say this, probably every day I say it. Jesus said, "Let those who have ears hear." So what does it mean? Everyone's got ears, flaps on the head and holes in the head and little vibrating follicles that vibrate sound and touch us, connect us to sound. But that doesn't mean we can hear. Consciousness, it means consciousness. And it means rapt hearing, rapt attention. Okay, so to the question, soma. Soma is a plant that is found in the heavenly planets. And the juice from that plant, when they mix it and make it a beverage, becomes a celestial liquor. But it's not the kind of liquor that just makes you drunk and forget everything and then you're hungover the next morning. It actually gives you a taste for spiritual life and a taste for, and your body becomes rejuvenated, and you have a sense of being eternal, which you're not. But it's a special result of performing the Soma Yagya properly, with all the mantras proper and all the priests proper, But just like this big yagya was one of the most authorized sacrifices that can be done, and you look what happened. Just because the head priest got proud, the whole thing was devastated, and everyone got their teeth out and eyes poked out and all kinds of nasty things, head cut off. Yeah. So it's a heavenly pleasure that you get, that those who are qualified get to indulge in by the performance of proper sacrifice. And then you can go to the heavenly planets and live for a very long time, and then die. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Thank you for your patience with me. I want to report that our recording this morning of the Chaitanya Charitamrita was primo. It went so nice. It was so nice. And the reason is because I'm getting to bed early and getting up real early, and then doing it, when your voice is clear and, first part of the day, golden hours, yeah. Okay. So thank you very much. All glories to Lord Shiva. All glories to the sacrifice of the holy chanting of the holy names of the Lord. All glories to all the gurus that are becoming gurus as a result of Prabhupada's teachings. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much. Same time, same station tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.